Thank you, sir. Thanks for having me. How's it going, everybody? Can y'all hear me good back there in the back? I know we got one guy that came all the way from Huntsville. We got some from Birmingham. We got anybody from the Mobile area by chance out there? Anybody from come across border from Florida? Oh yeah, we got some Mobile people back here. Awesome. Anybody come across border from Florida by chance? I know we got a lot of veterans down that way. Oh yeah, we do. I forgot about my friend over here. So I want to start off by saying thanks to Mr. Ray Vancourt for inviting me here, and Herb Merriman for linking me up with Ray and his team. It's always a pleasure to speak to my friends and family here in Andalusia. It really does mean the world to me that you guys think enough of me to ask me to speak at such an important event honoring our veterans. With the world that we live in and the ever so changing, deteriorating global circumstances, it is critical to have a professional and competent military to defend the homeland. As each of you know, having served this country, this comes with many sacrifices. I want to start by saying to the military spouses who have been by our sides throughout our service and our careers, we could not have been as effective without you and your selfless service to this nation. You guys raised the kids while we were away, made sure the bills were paid, and ran the homestead while we were away fighting these wars. So now I want to take a quick moment and encourage everyone to give a round of applause for the spouses who backed us and supported us along the way. Thank you guys so much. Your service means a lot to this country as well, even though it's unspoken of in many, many venues. So here are a few statistics I'd like to point out before we get going. Did you guys know that less than 7% of the adult population in the United States has served this country in some sort of capacity within the military? If we consider the major wars the United States was involved in, roughly 116,000 Americans died in World War I. Another 400,000 Americans died in World War II, followed by another 36,000 in the Korean War and 58,000 in the Vietnam War. Then, fortunately for my generation, with the advancements of body armor and technology, we lost a little over 7,000 in the global war on terror, America's longest history, or the longest war in American history. These numbers clearly paint the picture of the extremely high cost of taking the fight to the enemy on battlefields around the world. Without the men and women in this room, your innovation, talent, and trained skill sets, these numbers could be much higher. The generations that came before us learned and overcame obstacles. They developed new techniques, tactics, and procedures that were passed along to the future generations to have a better survivability rate. Without you guys who served before my time, it is possible that I would not even be here. So thank you for your ingenuity and your never quit attitude. Medical advancements have come a long way. So far that the U.S. Army, through my old unit, developed new medical procedures that allow blood transfusions on the battlefield. I mean, can you even imagine that? Our gear has become tougher and lighter. We have the ability to operate at night just as effectively as during the daytime. Our weaponry and vehicles are more capable than ever, and all of this is because of the dedication to duty of personnel from every branch and every duty position within the military. The next point I'd like to make is that the most elite soldiers in the military would be useless without the support and infrastructure of everyone else in the military. Another statistic for you is that it takes roughly 10 support troops for every combat arms troop. This means for every single combat position in the military, it takes roughly 10 other soldiers or personnel to keep them outfitted with gear, transported to the battlefield, covered with supporting fires, close air support and artillery, fed at the chow hall, parachutes packed and maintained, vehicles and weaponry maintained, medical treatment facilities operating and in fully function to treat casualties. And I could go on and on forever detailing how critical these positions are. If you were to remove only a small fraction of these support troops, a military would not be able to function. So every single job in the military is absolutely critical. Most people who enlist don't even get to choose their job. And I've met so many people who downplay their roles saying, I was just a support troop. Well, I'm here to tell you that none of us could have fought the enemy effectively if we were starving or had to maintain our own vehicles and equipment and could not get our weapons fixed when we needed them. The Department of Defense reports that roughly 80% of the military's personnel are in non-combat jobs or positions. This means that our wars are literally won by support troops. In the modern war, this is going to become even more and more of a stark contrast as we have started using drones, automated systems, and other things that have to be maintained, run, and operated by someone not in direct combat. I don't personally agree with our military being as reliant on this technology as we have become, but when this stuff works, we are more effective. With the cyberspace growing, the U.S. military has now over 2,000 troops assigned to the U.S. Cyber Command. This may not seem like warfighting to you guys, but as the world changes, we must be able to change with it to remain viable. These troops are responsible for OSINT intelligence, conducting GEOINT analysis, and conducting cyber attacks. Think about it. With all the militaries in the world becoming more dependent on technology, it is critical that we have the capability and the ability to target these weaknesses, and that's what they are. So thanks to all in the crowd who have worked in these critical supporting roles, supporting the missions in the most needed ways. With this being said, I don't want to downplay the role of the combat troops either, me being one of you guys. So for the combat troops out there, you guys feel the burden of winning or losing these wars even more so than anyone else because you're on the front lines fighting the direct fight. This comes with the loss of close friends, seeing brothers in arms wounded and or maimed. This can take a huge psychological toll as well as a physical toll. I don't care how advanced our technology gets, there will always be a place for people just like you with the mindset to understand tactics and take the fight directly to the enemy. Even in the global war on terror, we used horses to get deep into the mountains and mountainous regions of Afghanistan because there was nothing more suited for the terrain. The same will apply to combat troops. We will need real, dedicated humans to conduct hostage rescues where target discretion is paramount. We will need combat pilots flying planes into combat zones from the air, passing the situation to the guys on the ground. We will need combat troops to interact with the indigenous peoples in the countries we are in, and we will always need real humans to manage and coordinate all complex military operations. There are many other ways I could detail how combat troops will always be needed and how it will be impossible for them to completely be replaced with technology. I want to say thanks again to all the combat troops in the crowd. I also want to point out that everything we did in the military shaped us into the people we have become. No matter what happens in this world or in this nation, we must stick together and keep serving in the best ways that we can. We are the defenders of freedom and the liberators of the oppressed, and we don't have to be active in the military to do this. I encourage everyone here to revitalize that servant mentality and do what you can to keep fighting the good fight. This country and our local areas are going to need people with a servant's mentality more and more in the times ahead. There will be challenges that can only be met by people with the dedication to service that is unparalleled. Those willing to give up everything up to and including their lives. I would like to end this message with this. Every single person in this room has a servant's heart. If you are not a servant at heart, you would have never joined. Whether you know it or not, you joined to be part of something bigger. Because you love this country and the people in it so much, you are willing to give up everything up to and including your life. Now going to the Bible, in the book of John, chapter 15, verse 13, it says, "Greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends." That is the epitome of a servant. Every single person in this room is very special, part of an elite group that is made up of less than 7% of the population who have been willing to serve no matter the cost. You are the innovators who paved the way for those behind you. Please be proud of what you did and who you are, because without you, freedom and safety would not be possible. And I'd like to say thank you to my wife, Kendall, and my daughter, Anna Lee, for always having my back and supporting me through all the rough times that we've had over the years. And I also want to say thanks to the city of Andalusia for hosting this event. Thank you again so much for having me. This has been an absolute honor. And let's give a round of applause for all the veterans in the house. Thank you guys so much for having me. I appreciate it.